Hey guys, thanks so much for coming back to Contest Prep University. I'm here with Dr. Kori Propst, and today we're going to talk about what to do with judges' feedback. And this is a great one to have you aboard because talk about being vulnerable. This
Okay.
is a
Yeah.
very difficult situation to sometimes put clients in. Oftentimes, I think it's good to prepare them ahead of time for if you have an idea of who the judges are and how they react, that can be key. I have a judge here in town. And I think he's great. He's honest. He is to the point, but is very short. And
Yes.
I think
Concise.
for a lot of females, short does not work, especially when you're taking apart their body.
I need more details.
Yeah, I need more than just the snippet of a text. And I prepare them for that judge
That's great.
specifically.
Yeah.
And actually, in my email of judges, I always say, believe me, this is going to be short and to the point, and
hmm
just be prepared for that. And it might come off a little harsh.
Yeah. I think that is a really important piece, that preparation piece, so they kind of know what to expect and they're not really caught off guard. Um, I remember when I was competing, Adam, that to your point about wanting detail, if I would get that very short, concise feedback, then my next question was like, so how? But in a lot of the feedback I would receive, and I think this is another really important piece for competitors to remember, is that not everything that you are told can you change or impact. And
Mhm.
if you do have a judge that's been trained and is kind of well versed in providing constructive criticism and feedback at them, I do think they're not going to provide that sort of feedback. That there isn't, just your back needs to be wider. Well, okay, and you're I'm 5% body fat. Your waist needs to be smaller. Okay, you're asking me to like change my skeleton at this point, and
Yeah.
so it is things like that you have to learn to take some feedback with a grain of salt. And I mean, that goes for any sort of feedback in life, whether it's from your boss or it's from the person who watched you stand on stage half naked. But there's some things you take and you work with, and there are some things that you kind of assess in terms of whether that's within your control in any way, and kind of let go.
hmm I think, interestingly enough, with the new Miss Olympia winner, she's got one of the tiniest
Mm.
waists in the world I've ever seen. And a lot of girls are trying to achieve that now. And
Mm-hmm.
I try to explain to my females, that's very much genetic.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she wore a waist trainer, I don't think the waist trainer did as much for her as the initial genetics did.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I tell my girls, let's make your shoulders and glutes bigger, and that will make a
Your
larger
waist look
hour,
tinier.
yeah,
Yeah.
larger hourglass appearance.
And
So,
let's practice how you're posing and how you're presenting yourself. That's what I really worked on in
mhm.
order to achieve that sort of hourglass figure. Because I don't have a wide back. I have a pretty blocky waist. It's
Mhm.
amazing that I did anything in this sport, Adam, but it
Right.
really did come down to playing to my strengths and being able to get pretty darn lean, strided glute lean, and knowing how to pose.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think too, something that people don't think about, they think of being front and center and that judge just seeing you straight on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, judge 4 and 5 and 6 are going to get a completely different view of you than
Right.
somebody else. And
Yep.
that can kind of swing what they see. They might see more of your hamstrings
Yeah,
most
exactly.
of the rounds just based on where you're standing on stage.
Yeah. Do you ever have, Adam, do you ever have your competitors not get judges' feedback?
I do. There's a few that I I think they trust me enough to take them the rest of the way. I think that's great. There's times where I say, you know, I'm struggling because I thought you looked great. I would like just a little bit of clarification, and I might only have them reach out to certain ones. Just because, just like I said, the judge who's short, I'll cut that one out of the email if I feel like a client can't handle what might be about to come with that. So sometimes I don't have them do that.
I did the same thing for myself when I was competing too. I was just careful, because it's an incredibly subjective sport, and while we hope that most of the judges have been trained really well, a lot of them haven't been, and it probably depends too on which federations you're competing within. But I would get a lot of very discrepant feedback from judges where I'm like, okay, so like this is opposite. This is opposite of what this person said. What? And so it did become more about trusting my coach and trusting even my eye, and comparing from show to show how I came in order to see what sort of look was best for my physique in particular. Because I can try to look like the other girls on stage, but that's kind of it's a game I can't win.
Right. Yeah, I liked it initially after a show, give a client a little bit of time just to decompress from the emotions. And then we have what I like to call our like State of the Union address. This is what we're going to do. And this is my best plan of attack on how we're going to do this. And then we might get the feedback and kind of see if we want to swing our approach off of anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a very emotional thing to have people go through that. So did you find that some of your feedback got better as you went to like world championships and larger pro shows, or did you still sense there was quite a bit of variable to that?
There was quite a bit of variability, no matter how long I'd been competing, and even moving up like towards the world championships. But as I recall, I think as I progressed as an athlete and competitor, I didn't take that feedback so seriously. And I didn't rely on the whole panel of judges to tell me what I needed or didn't need to do. I relied on the people that I actually trusted, who had been with me through this, how long did I compete? 7-year process to see, you know, how far I had come and where my vulnerabilities were and where my strengths were. And Adam, I competed in 3 different divisions.
Right.
So it became about like, how am I going to bring my best package for this show? Because it wasn't just figure every time. It was, well, this time I'm going to do bodybuilding. And, well, this time I want to do fit body, and I want to do figure this time. So, and then and this is the other interesting thing, when the judging criteria change. I remember when I was competing, they would change over time, and I would watch, I'd watch the results from different shows, and I would be like, okay, so now they're wanting figure with less leanness. And it was kind of fun, but that's the game too. And that's where I think we come back to stop taking feedback so seriously and try to have more fun. We go in this to win, though. Yeah. And that's where it can become really challenging.
Absolutely. So at the end of the day, it's as long as you improve each show. And then that's where it gets difficult, is sometimes they don't want you to improve. And I have a client in that situation. She was just slightly too lean for her pro debut. And she's like, so what are we going to do to get better? And she didn't know a judge had came up to me right after his show, and he said, she looks perfect. She's just a touch too lean. And he said, bring her in softer and she's going to hopefully go to the Olympia. And
Yeah.
I just said to her, I just want you to know this is as lean as you're ever going to be. So get a little comfortable with being uncomfortable and not being as shredded as you are today. And
I love that you said that. I had moments like that too. I recall I think it was like Worlds 2009. I was the leanest I'd ever been and just like shredded. And I loved that look. I loved that. And I looked smaller, but I was so tight. And I never came in that lean again. It just, as much as I loved it, and I would have gotten on stage like that every time, it wasn't what they wanted and what they were looking for. So if I wanted to progress and win, I needed to be a little less hard.
Yeah. So if we were to ask you of a favorite photo of you, is that it that year?
Yeah, it's in my head right now. I know it. Yeah. It's my favorite
and that's
one.
That's what I told my client. I said, unfortunately, this is probably going to be some of your favorite photos of yourself, but we have to go in the direction that they're telling us to go. And she was fine with that. And that's what's great. Some people won't be, and they'll keep doing that. And that's okay too.
It is. And at the same time, like, this is a sport. There's strategy involved here.
Absolutely.
And that's part of it.
Yeah. The standards have made it so it's not just a get lean competition, which is great. But however, depending on competition, being lean just might win on what's on stage that day.
And that's part of the game too. You don't know who's going to be showing up.
Yeah.
You're going to be standing next to. Yep. Yeah.
That makes it very difficult. Any other take homes? Let's say if you get negative feedback that almost kind of hurts your feelings a bit, what should we do that?
Well, I mean, we're human. We have these comparing brains, and we have the negativity bias to contend with that. Like, we're like magnets for crap. And it's the stuff that we remember, and it's the stuff that we allow to stick to us. And we tend to want to just like pick that apart and wallow in it. And so I think first recognize that, like, if it hurts, if it's like, like, okay, like, let's create a little bit of distance here. Let's focus more on what I did well and how I can like enhance those things. And let me check in with my coach about the negative feedback I got, because he or she is probably going to be able to present it to me in a way that I'm going to be able to take a bit better. That's not criticism and it's not critical, but I'll be able to look at it differently and pull something from it that I can actually move on.
Yeah, some post-traumatic growth, so to speak,
There
right?
you go. Yep.
Yeah, very good. Well, I think that's awesome and great advice. So awesome. I think that covers this episode. I think we nailed it. So thanks so much for joining, guys, and we'll see you for our next podcast on Contest Prep University.
Thanks, guys.